go ahead and get started. Welcome to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross and this episode of Maximizing Impact and Income, Strategies for Legacy Building with Elona Lopari. I am so happy to have her with us. She is the visionary CEO of Life School, and she's not just a speaker and best-selling author, but also a servant, community builder, and people connector with a remarkable track record of helping over 30,000 heart-driven and service-based entrepreneurs and corporations to achieve their full potential. She is a former Fortune 500 CEO and acclaimed business catalyst. Elona is renowned for her ability to transform businesses and into game changers in their field, achieving million-dollar breakthroughs and creating impactful legacies. Elona, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today.
Laura, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
So tell me, what inspired you to transition from Fortune 500 to becoming the visionary leader at the Life School?
Yeah, I love that question. It was, I guess, a newfound, or I guess I was feeling a sense of purpose, meaning that the work that I was doing, the company I was working for, which was a Fortune 500 company, where I climbed the corporate ladder to the C-suite level, turned profit driven. So with that culture and energy, as they were acquired by another company, I started looking for something else to do in life because I didn't really see a future with them. So that's kind of how I ventured out to become an entrepreneur. Started my journey to personal growth, started my journey to kind of aligning myself with the right people that I really felt that I could pretty much connect a few dots for myself based on where I was. I didn't know whether I was going to go back to get another 9 to 5 or just start my own venture. But the rest is history. 5 years now in the making, and I have put purpose first, and now I love the mission that I'm after. To help other entrepreneurs, much like myself, scale their purpose and profit and harmonize both, because we've always heard of those two things separately. And most people don't always understand how to connect both of those. And you can absolutely harmonize them so that you're working towards something that's meaningful towards you, while you're also creating impact in society, while you're also becoming very profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So can you share a specific success story of a business or an entrepreneur that you've worked with that experienced a significant breakthrough? Because I know you do a lot of wonderful things for people. Can you share one of those?
Yeah, one of my latest clients is Andrea, and she's in the space of diversity and inclusion. And she was at the startup levels of growing her company, where obviously she didn't know how to reach the right people that she was looking to serve, what was the right messaging, what made her different in the marketplace, what were all these channels that we now have available, and how to go about building know, like, and trust, how to start growing her personal positioning and brand in the marketplace, and all those different pieces of the operations in any company that most entrepreneurs, if you have not built a business before, it's not like we're taught in school on how to do this. And a lot of entrepreneurship is also very individual, authentic, right? Because we all have our own strengths, unique sets of experiences and skills, and the different ways that we get to creatively solve problems. So putting all those things together, I was able to help her package operationally a lot of those different pieces that she needed, but also be able to focus on the right priorities as she was growing her brand, to also be able to start bringing in some high level profitable clients for her, so that she could start building her client testimonial base. And now we're moving to the scaling piece, as she already has the foundations in place and she's bringing in high quality clients. We're looking to build another business model for her that is an ascension to what she's already doing, as she's becoming, or she's in the right position to start hiring her first couple of team members, so that now she can focus herself and her priorities in their company in the right place, so that she could, she'll be in good position to be able to scale a company to the next level.
Yeah, and you made a lot of good points, because like I said, like you said, they don't teach us to be an entrepreneur. And, we're all individuals. I think a lot of us, when we start learning, you start following mentors, a lot of people say, well, you need to do it this way, but that doesn't always fit everybody. So I love that you individualize that and meet the person basically where they're at to help them grow and scale, correct?
Yeah, Laura, something else is also predictable phases of business growth. It's just like any result in life. When you want to get your health better in, or you want to get in shape, I mean, exercise and nutrition are always part of that process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing in business. It's always the branding, it's always the marketing, it's always the sales systems, it's always the different systems to be able to leverage and automate a lot of things that you're doing, but also build a company that's going to be living beyond yourself, right? Build an independent asset, not only to help you create more time freedom, but also so that later on you can maybe leave it as a legacy, or maybe you can sell it, or maybe you can do other things, because you never know. Our life journey is unpredictable, right? And a lot of the times we have to surrender the things that happen to us. Maybe a certain phase of stage has served you well, but maybe the next stage and phase of life, it's no longer aligning with what you want, to have created. So it's also the predictability of business growth, and these processes are pretty much for any business, any industry, any level, just like any result in any other area of life. When you want to look at your wealth building, we have to look at your investments, we have to look at your finances. Business is much the same. I've always been a student of fundamentals. Once I figured out, okay, how does these things connect together, then I'm able to adapt and help somebody else start to implement those in their own operations and their own companies.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about alignment. So would you maybe tell people, how do you define inner alignment and why it's crucial for businesses' growth and success?
Yes, that's something that I've learned mostly as an entrepreneur, because I came to the business world with a lot of traditional business sense of like do, execute, results, KPIs, numbers, all those things. However, I'm very grateful for my journey as an entrepreneur, where it gave me time, or I guess forced me in many good ways, to go within and to figure out what I needed, what I wanted to do as a person. Where was I uniquely leveraged? Or how was I going to use my experience, my gifts, the more I discovered things about myself? And how was I going to use those and then align myself with the right people and the right mentors? When we talk about inner alignment, for me, it's all about inner child work, because it's so easy to just have to build a successful business on the outside. Just like I thought early on that, success was really around the way that I looked on the outside, or the things that I had achieved, when I started to feel very unfulfilled, and I had a lot of inner conflicts. Because I hadn't figured out what are my personal values, what is my personal mission that is important to me, and what is the vision that I want to create for my life. Once you have that clarity, then you can transfer that over right into the business, because we all start as solopreneurs. And a lot of the times those are going to just be carried over to our company. And then as we grow and the company evolves, and we evolve as human as well, and as leaders, then of course, the more clarity we have around what we stand for, the more we can attract the right team member, can attract the right people, the right clients, the right communities, the right messaging, the right authentic way, the way that only you are designed to be able to speak about what you do, to be able to share the information based on how you see the world, how you connect your own dots. And we are so different, and intuition plays a big role in entrepreneurship as well. So helping people heal a lot of the scarcity and the ways that maybe we go about it, business, and come into business with the authenticity, and also with our self full. So then when we worry about the business operations, then those things are just a complementation to who we already are. Because especially in the service space, building know, like, and trust is all about connecting with you as the person, that you are in front of us. And especially if you're going to go after an elevated market, people are very highly intuitive with all the processes of your business, right? So you want to show up as that person that you are. And the more you let go of all those fears and all those other things that are holding you down, the more you just show up for your full self, and you show up in that light that only you are uniquely designed to be able to show up as. So it just helps with all the other pieces of visibility, thought leadership, branding, leveraging know, like, and trust, all the different pieces that they all kind of connect within, a healthy personal brand that also eventually transfers into a company brand.
Yeah, and like you said, it helps to be to me, it helps to be yourself, because if you're trying to fill someone else's shoes and be someone else, people won't really connect with you. They connect with you more when it's authentic, it's you, like you said, and being aligned with it. I've seen people, sometimes they try to do stuff and keep, working in someone else's shoes, but it's not who they are. They wind up not being very successful because they're not able to connect.
Exactly. And in the age of creating content and showing up and visibility, gosh, it would be miserable for you to be putting on a show or a mask if that's not really you, because this stuff is what you do every day. So it's just almost like living a misery. So I just can't see that happening. Things are so much more easier without talking about this, and also in the spiritual sense of the attraction of who we attract, but more in the, let's say, logical part of, let's call it a business operation, go into other people's podcasts, sharing, with other people's audiences, showing up for our content, showing up for our offers, showing up for all the things that we set up. I just couldn't imagine if I just couldn't be who I am and I would have to worry about every single thing. And I think that's where actually personal growth is the most transformational.
Yeah. So what strategies do you recommend for small business owners, especially when they're looking to increase profits and reduce stress simultaneously? Or do you think that's even possible? Some people don't think that's even possible.
Well, I mean, it's possible if you're purposeful and intentional. I love the title of your show, Mindful Mind Mondays, because for me, mindfulness is what I mean with purpose, meaning that if you are clear about the activities that you need to focus on at the certain phase stage of your startup or of your business journey, then you can be mindful and intentional. You don't have to work hard. You just work smart, because you know those activities are going to do two things. And usually what I focus my startup businesses in is building their brand, but also creating cash flow, because we have to be able to create the second piece. Otherwise, how long can we go about building our brand, which might also take time? There's a lot of activities in business which are done for the longevity of the growing of the business, and also a lot of activities that we do to increase cash flow. So it starts with a business model. A lot of small businesses don't have the right business model priced correctly for their revenue goals. So that's actually what I've seen as the main pain point. They're charging too low, and they need a lot of clients to be able to be profitable with that business model. It's usually the reverse. The more niche and the more high quality and the higher the price and the higher the transformation you can provide at the beginning stages of your business as you build all the other pieces, that would be the smart way to work, because then you also can test your process out. We probably hear about product market fit. When you're at the beginning, you don't even have an established business yet. You don't even know that what you have actually creates results. So you're also testing things. So doing that with a small pool of people, where obviously you can also create results for them and start to build a testimonial piece of the business, which is so important, is where most small businesses need to focus on when they first start. And then they can expand from there. Most small businesses do this the other way around. They're always worrying about scaling when they don't even have enough clients yet. They don't even have the first couple of clients yet. And the clients that they're looking to do, because they don't understand the sales cycle, they'll undercharge. They'll put a price on something like a course or a membership for $50, $100. But how many people, if you understand the sales cycle could be long, right? If you're doing this organically. So if you're only focusing on that small price point of a business model, then you're going to need a lot of clients to fill your pipeline at all times. And you're the only solopreneur in the making. So you don't have any sales force. You don't have any other things in place. So your time and energy is valuable. So at the beginning, you got to focus it very intentionally with focusing more on quality than quantity. Quantity is later when you're at the next phase of scaling.
Yeah, I think sometimes like you said, people do like the reverse. Now, maybe you can clarify for everybody, because I've heard it a different way. How do you define branding?
Branding is all about, what do you stand for? What is your unique creative way to solve a unique problem? and how does that problem contribute towards others? So what is that experience that somebody goes through for you to uniquely be positioned to solve a specific pain point? So it's the entire experience of building trust, of serving, and of connecting your product or your service to the bigger why or the bigger purpose of why you exist and how that actually adds value in other people's lives.
So I have a question for you, because I know you are very busy and you do a lot. And obviously, yes, you niche down, you walk the talk, but how do you balance the billion-dollar corporate strategies with the agility of online marketing in your consulting approach?
So it's really having the awareness of how big companies operate and just breaking down the process for smaller companies. That's all it is. All those bigger companies were small one day. Every big company starts small. So understanding being a pretty much a scientist, like it's an art and a science, but this is what I'm uniquely gifted to also do, right? Because it's also around my experience and also the abilities that I build over time, but just being able to look at the processes, like how do big companies operate and how does a small company operate and where is the gap between a small company that wants to get to that level, and what can we learn from those bigger companies that we can apply to the small, tiny companies as we build bridges to get them to expand and scale. So that's kind of how I see it. And that's how I've always been an observant and a student of bigger companies that I work for or small company. And then once you do something for over 20 years, you start to see patterns. And then you're like, oh, okay, so things work like that. And here's the things, this is what people need to get to a certain result. And then you start to put processes in place. And that's actually how you could scale. So for me, it's really, I've been blessed to be able to work for a big corporation because I was so close to the decision-making space and I could see how everything operated. So that gave me a lot of wisdom when I went out to build my own thing, but also now that I help small to medium-sized businesses kind of put in place a lot of those structures that bigger companies utilize, because there's no way you could survive unless you actually, or scale, unless you put some processes in place. It's not a human way, unless obviously AI now has changed the game. There's a lot of things we can automate. However, that's still the way that they're being able to, bigger companies are able to scale.
Yeah, and like you said, I think we forget that sometimes, is everybody started somewhere and they started out small, because sometimes it's like you just want to get to the end, but like you said, there's a process that you have to put in place, to get there. It doesn't happen overnight either.
Absolutely not. Not overnight. Nothing happens overnight. However, that's why I love the industry of coaching, consulting, anything where the education is there and people understand the big picture, the strategy of what needs to be done, because then you can make very effective decisions on where to invest, who to bring on board, who do you need next, what are you focusing on. That becomes so much easier once you understand that bigger roadmap of where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know we have a lot more to cover because I know you've got some great advice, especially to give aspiring entrepreneurs. But we need to take a quick break from a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Hey, we got soul. Oh yeah, we got soul.
Hi, I'm Bobby Aldridge with BAM Metrics. There are so many programs out there that measure your swing speed, sets, reps, your BMI, your body fat, but the one thing they're not measuring that's so essential is mobility. Mobility is the key. If you're measuring your mobility, your performance will get better and you will reduce your pain. I created BAM Metrics to make it easy for people to repeat the exercises so they could do it properly at home on their own. It's simple, it's easy to do, and from a senior to a pro athlete,
Hi, I'm Sarah Stockham, and I'm host of Simply Sarah. Join me Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Achieve TV network for the best energetic tools to elevate your amazing life right here on E360 TV.
So, Elona, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs? They're looking to build a purpose-driven business but have a lasting impact.
Well, understand how to do it. Understand the fundamentals. Understand again, what is their business model that aligns with them? Are they are they pricing their business model correctly for their goals? How to go about utilizing all these channels that we now have available to build know, like, and trust with their ideal prospect journey, right? And understanding the right steps to having a prospect journey so that they can build know, like, and trust and be able to serve people as clients. And then having a very specific customer journey when people come to you and you're able to create results for them. What is the customer journey, and how is it that those customers or clients are able to support your business and further refer other people to you, as those are really the two main fundamentals or journeys in any company or in any business. And stay very clear on the right activities that you're working towards. I know, especially at the beginning of our businesses, I've been guilty of consuming so much content, going after so many shiny object syndromes, and doing too many things because obviously I didn't know what I know now. But that's why I say that having the right information knowledge as the CEO and the owner is, once you know that, then you can make the right decisions. So, of course, getting somebody that has done this before would help because they focus you, and they can, they can coach you through the right steps or consult you through the right steps that you need to take. As you keep in mind the bigger business strategy, but also the daily operational steps that are needed, whether you're just the solopreneur and then you're ready to make that next investment decision to start bringing in people to support you. Those are really the fundamentals of any business. And of course, people overheard the messaging piece. Know your market. What is the pain point you solve? What is the main result you're able to provide? Those are still true. So that's in the messaging piece. Positioning yourself well also as a thought leader in your industry. Those are all great things because it helps with the know, like, and trust. It's all the investment that you're making in your personal brand so that later on you can also grow into your company brand. But that would be some of the, I guess, foundational pieces that are just coming out for me right now based on your question.
Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of the shiny object syndrome. You start going down, and you can go down multiple paths, and next thing you know, you're so far from where you want to be, or you didn't get where you think you're supposed to be. And I think it frustrates a lot of people.
Yeah, I think, again, it's great that we have so much content. We can reach so many people. We can consume so many mentors and pieces of content. But just remember that social media, emails are just other people's time priorities on your time. So you got to be very, very disciplined in protecting your time and the things that you're working towards. And the more clear you are around the objectives that you have set for your month or quarter or 6 months, I don't think that planning a year ahead is even viable for a small business because there's so many changes. You don't have the structure yet. To plan like a year or 2 years or 3 years, honestly, just feels like too far ahead. And plus, right now, with how we're operating, with changes happening, like, a week in the life of an entrepreneur, it's like, a year. So things are moving fast, but definitely have a focus for your month, for your 2 or 3 months. I think 3-month planning is really viable because then you have enough room to make some longer term decisions, but you also can move fast and adapt fast because adaptability at the beginning is also very important.
Yeah, I would have to agree, especially like you said, as fast as everything's moving, technology's moving. Yeah, 3 months I think is much more reasonable than a year or 2 years because things will be totally different by then. Now, you are the CEO of the Life School. So tell us a little bit more about the Life School, what it does for, why you created it, how it helps people.
Yeah, the initial vision for the Life School was that life is just like school itself, especially entrepreneurship. It's always teaching us something if we're paying attention and if we're conscious. So the more we work with our personal development, the more we can also grow really legacy, profitable, healthy companies. Because just like anything, if we're healthy as individuals, our company is going to be healthy. Because what makes up a company? Just a group of individuals coming together for a common vision, mission, and values. That's all it is, just like family. And I love to compare entrepreneurship to family a lot because I have 2 kids and it feels like parenting. I mean, your company is small, it's a baby, and then it grows into toddler phase, and then, preteen and teenage and all of those phases. So that's what the Life School is about, helping purpose-driven entrepreneurs and CEOs grow a legacy company that does more good in the world, that really contributes beyond ourselves and contributes towards causes in society, but also the service that we're able to provide is also a transformative service, meaning it could change somebody else's life in whatever area. And I always saw business in a more holistic approach because I guess my education in other areas such as neuroscience and other areas that I'm always learning around. Because at the end of the day, I look at the individual first. And then as long as you're grounded and you are authentic and you're always working on that piece, then whatever you built in your business will just be a byproduct of who you are and you as a human.
Yeah. And I think that's important too, because I know growing up, a lot of people, we used to always hear, well, work is work, home is home, and we're supposed to keep them separate, but you really can't. One, they intertwine. Really, one affects the other. So I don't know how people would ever have kept that separate. I think the balance may be more accurate, possibly.
Even in the way we work, I mean, maybe before most traditional businesses were done at the office, right? So you're like, okay, I'm going to go and be there for 20 hours, however many hours.
Too many hours.
Too many hours. And then probably you had that physical space separation. But I think now in the ways that we're working, there's no such thing, right? So you just have to be very intentional with your time, prioritize things accordingly, from your self-care to your health habits, to your spiritual care, to your relationships, all these other areas. Unless you're intentional, I just don't know how else we can still do the work that we do, grow a business, put all the right focuses and the right priorities, and still, have healthy relationships, healthy bodies, healthy minds, healthy spirits, all these things that we now know are important. I think maybe lack of education in the prior years of the way businesses were done, but we now see this consciously as a humanity anyway. A lot of old traditional things are falling because new ways of working and living are coming about. So it's time to, to harmonize things. And be very intentional and purposeful with what we do. Otherwise, we're going to suffer the side effects of burnout or health issues or, I don't know, loss of income, failure, the way that we know it in entrepreneurship. All those things that we have probably heard before are true when we don't know better, we can do better. That's what I always say. That's what I tell myself. So let's educate ourselves, learn from everybody. I love people's experiences because to me, if I can learn from Laura's, if you have learned something from your experience and you can save me a decade of trying to do it on my own, then you are very, very valuable to me and vice versa. Maybe there's something that I've learned that maybe I can share. So that's why my whole Life School, beyond the consulting and the fractional COO and HR work, I also do lots of speaking events because I like to bring people together that share their experiences, their expertise, what they've learned. Because traditionally, looking back at history as humans without the use of tech, this is how we've been able to help each other and connect, genuinely connect, just share what we know, help each other out, and then look for ways to further collaborate or find ways to be able to be of value to one another. So just looking at those fundamentals, I apply them everywhere.
Yeah, connection and collaboration, I think, is huge because, I mean, like you said, you get different perspectives, you get that connection. We've gotten so used to connecting through Zoom, but I still think it's important to connect in person as well. Now, you cultivate and maintain a community, though, of like over 30,000 heart-led entrepreneur visionaries. So what do you do to kind of like keep yourself grounded and in the space you need to be to do all that?
Well, I have a team. I have team and systems in place. There's no way that I'm doing it on my own anymore. However, what community means to me, Laura, is really what I said before, being of service. I'm always in tune with the people that I work or serve or help, so that I figure out what are their issues, what are their pain points, what are they looking for. And then eventually I build resources and connect people together to support. So in a nutshell, that's really what community is to me, getting people together. I think I'm very strong with who I am and what I'm about. And as long as that is there, then I'm very grateful that I always attract amazing people that are into personal development, but also want to build profitable and healthy companies. But they want to do it in more of the harmonized way, not just the traditional ways that we probably have learned to build businesses, but also harmonizing a lot of the intuition, a lot of the service piece, a lot of the inner work, and all these pieces that are important. So yeah, it's just bringing people together for a common vision, mission, and common set of values.
Yeah, I agree with you. To me, that's most important too, with the harmony. Now, you have a YouTube channel, right, that people can go to. So what can they expect from the YouTube channel that you do? I mean, because you provide resources, a lot of amazing resources for people, and I believe that was one of them.
Yeah, they can check out my show as well. My podcast is also streamed on YouTube Live, and I bring on a lot of amazing guests that do just that, back to what we were talking about, bring in their expertise, knowledge, and experience for you to be able to connect a few dots in that specific area or connect with each other. I always encourage people to connect with one another. I also share lots of free content around the work that I do. Very consistently, I do a solo show every Wednesday, so they can expect new content that will absolutely be useful to them inside the channel as well. And those are some of the main things that are happening in there.
And then you also have your website, right?
Yeah. On the website, it's called elonaloparicoaching.com, and it's pretty much my hub for resources and a lot of the things that I do, which seems like, a lot of different things, but all it's within the same thing. So they'll find free resources, a free masterclass where I've connected a lot of those different dots that I mentioned here and went in depth with what is it that people need to be able to grow a business that is self-sustained. So that could be probably a resource that could be attractive to some of the people in your audience here, and they'll find that on the website.
Absolutely. So in your experience, what are the common challenges that are faced by businesses when it comes to branding and marketing effectively?
Lack of consistency with sales and clients. That's a big pain point for most businesses. And then the other piece is being seen, right? Standing out from their competition. And then the other one is running out of capacity, staying small, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes consciously, because you don't know what else you need to grow beyond a certain level. So hitting a certain ceiling and then staying there, or obviously breaking through and getting to the next level. Those are three of the top pain points that I've seen.
Do you have any tips for people of what to do? Because I know you and I talked about it a little bit, because when you're trying to get visible, then all of a sudden you seem to have a bunch of people, hitting you up about SEO and everything else. Is that something you normally concern yourself with out the gate?
So when it comes to marketing or the sales piece that we talked about, getting enough consistent sales and clients, I always go with organic first, meaning all the free ways that we're able to reach our potential clients, right? If we already have that clarity on who we serve, how we serve them, and all the things, then utilize all the free channels that we have available to be able to build know, like, and trust within those organic ways. So that's what I recommend first. So once all of those are in place, then we could take a look at other things that we could do, whether it's SEO, we could start running ads, on all the different platforms and the offers that we have, because then you'll have enough of the revenue that you've already generated so that you are able to do that. But at the end of the day, I hate the word lead generation because I don't want to be seen as a lead. I like to be seen as a person, as a human. But it's all about having an ecosystem of organic relationships that already know, like, and trust you, that now we can move them into the next phases of serving them at the highest level, which is turning them into clients and then having a rinse and repeat process for that. And then once that is in place, then we can take a lot of that revenue, pay ourselves first, because most entrepreneurs are
don't do that.
feeding themselves first. They'll go feed everybody else, like a good mom. You know, you're always worrying about the kids or other people that are in service to you. Help yourself first, pay yourself first, take care of your family first, and then percent of that you can reinvest it back in all these other ways to be able to grow, which are SEO, ads, maybe funnels, all the other ways that we probably have heard of as far as paid traffic, it's called in marketing. We pay the traffic to get to the people that we want to serve, or we put in time and we do it in organic ways. Most people start there. I mean, a referral, building a base of relationships, we always have heard this. Word of mouth referrals is always, the greatest marketing strategy on earth. However, that also has to be purposeful, and you also have to diversify your portfolio, because we know that, that can run out. There couldn't be anybody that anybody's referring to us. So we can't rely our business on just that. So we do have to build all these other pieces, but organic first and then paid. That's what I usually always suggest.
Yeah. That puts a little less stress on them too. But like you also said too, it's consistency. You have to be consistent and not just throw something up and then have it go down. And, consistency is definitely a key. You were talking earlier about connecting dots and stuff. Can you, connecting the vision backwards. Can you elaborate on that concept of connecting the vision backwards and its significance in achieving business goals?
Yeah, it's really around the awareness of the reflection piece of between our past, our present, and our future. So a lot of the times when we're trying to build a future, which we can't see, obviously it's in the future, we want to build it in the present, right? Because this is where we are, this is where we have the clarity, and this is where we take action. However, I have found a lot of patterns from my past journey, meaning years past all the way to childhood, that I have kind of utilized as great reflection points or dots that I've connected that actually have led me to my present moment. And I've derived a lot of lessons from a lot of those failures or setbacks or challenges that I've overcome, that I think they're very valuable in the way that I'm making decisions now in the present and the way that I am projecting for my goals of the future. So that's why the first book that I wrote, Connecting the Vision Backwards, it's really a testament to my own awareness levels and learnings that everything is serving us. Nothing is ever wasted. No experience, even a challenge that I've overcame now, I'm utilizing, I'm sharing it with other people now in this present moment. And that could have happened like 20 years ago, right? So everything is just part of our journey. So being very mindful around our journeys, connecting, our past, healing our past, if we need to heal our past, that's a lot of the work too. So that those things don't show up in the present and don't block us from what we're trying to build in the future.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of us realize how much that can actually impact us and affect us when we're building. If we have stuff that we just thought we've kind of tucked down or forgot, but we really haven't dealt with, has a way of sneaking back up on you. So what role would you say does team building play in maximizing a business's impact and income, according to your expertise?
That's the only way to scale. It's crucial because you can only go so far on your own until you reach capacity, but then you'll always be the bottleneck. So the only other two ways to free up a lot of your time and to work on the things that maybe you're not good at, because obviously we can't be, a jack of all trades. We have certain things that we're naturally good at. And we want to leverage that so that we stay on those things, because obviously we're going to be happy with those things and we're going to be the most fulfilled as well. Because it's not about only making profits and money. It's about me enjoying my day-to-day thing, the things that I do. So that is the only other two pillars to be able to scale: systems and team. You need to align the right people around you, understand how to collaborate, understand how to create a healthy culture, have a plan for your onboarding, your hiring, your retention, your training, all these different pieces, so that you can retain your talent, because that's another big pain point. We can't find the right people we need, or maybe we think we are the only amazing people that can do all the things we do. Nobody can do it like us. But I always say that even if somebody can do it like us, even if they give you 80% of their productivity or efficiency, then that's still freeing up so much of your time to be able to scale. So we just gotta, work on the leadership piece and attract the right people, and then build the structure so they grow with you, because that's another pain point. If they don't see any opportunities for growth, which was my story, I'm like, well, I don't know if there's a future for me here, right? People always want to know, like, what is the bigger thing? What am I working towards? Otherwise, you're just going to keep them for a little bit and then you can't retain them in the long term. And I don't think that that's true for everyone. There could be people working with you for a season. That's fine too. I don't think that you're going to carry everyone along with you. However, if you intentionally create a culture where those things are built in, then obviously you're gonna ensure that you are creating that environment to keep your talent and have them grow with you.
So what advice would you have for solopreneurs? Because we're always told, hire people for the things you don't like to do and stick with what you're good at doing. But if you've had bad experiences, or maybe it didn't go well, so it makes you feel like that you can't, and you need to take it, what advice would you give to them, or how should they go about finding the right person?
Yeah, that's very common. It's all in the journey, right? We can't have our cake and eat it too. We're going to have bad experiences. We're going to have bad investments. We're going to have a lot of challenges that we couldn't foresee. But I always say, forgive yourself. See what you have learned from all the experiences in your journey, because they probably have added a lot of value towards you. They've given you a lesson, and now next time around they're able to go and do the same thing. You have better information to be able to make a better decision. So they've given you wisdom in decision making. I think it's very important, and sometimes we don't get that wisdom unless we go through challenges. So that would be one. Learn from that. However, watch the story that you're telling yourself so you don't self-sabotage yourself, so that you are protecting yourself from that pain, and stopping yourself from making the right investment again, or hiring the right team member again, or investing in the right system again. Because the only way to secure that you're staying small is if you just use those experiences to keep you stuck. Turn those, your pain into purpose is what I always say. Make that part of your story, because that could be part of your messaging, all the experiences that you've overcome. And you just never know who can resonate with that, or you can be a great working great empathy for people that might be resonating with that. But don't let that stop you. Do your homework. I would say don't rush. I mean, the more you are clear on what you're looking for, the more you can start aligning with the right people. And if you don't know what you need to know yet, maybe don't rush into a decision. Obviously without the procrastination piece, because that's another one. Sometimes it comes out of fear, not because the other person can't support you. But watch, figure out where it's coming from. Some emotional work in there to figure out where it's coming from. Do your homework, but also trust your intuition. I think our intuition knows when is the right time to make that decision, or when is the right time to align with that specific person. So trust that as well. And it's almost like a skill. The more you build it, the easier it gets. However, at the beginning, it might just be you taking a bet on yourself, but consume people's contents. I mean, there's a lot of information nowadays. Don't hire anyone if you don't know them. They're just coming off the street and there's nothing out there, about them. Or maybe you can get a referral from people that you already know, like, and trust. Do all of the due diligence that you think you can do. But then the other piece is just trust the process. And if you're feeling like this is the right thing, then go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, surrounding yourself with the right people or knowing when you're in the right people is such a huge part of it too, and it makes a huge difference. So, but how do you see the future of purpose-driven entrepreneurship evolving, and what opportunities do you foresee for businesses in this space?
I see a lot more people becoming purpose aware, a lot more companies and leaders becoming purpose and conscious aware, because this is going to be the new way we live and work. All of us want to do work we love. We all want to be creative. And actually, these are the new skills that we need anyway. Anything that's been operational or like systematized, tech can do it. So the new ways of working, it's all about using our creativity, nourishing our mind, our body, our spirit, getting more information around all these other how these concepts work. And then just whatever you're doing, do it in service towards others while serving yourself first. And I think we just follow those fundamentals, whatever it is for you. Follow the intuition. If you're attracted towards certain people or certain things, there's a reason why. It's part of your soul's path. So pay attention to that and lean on those things, even though they might seem out of this world, right? Because a lot of new things sometimes, because we don't know, about them yet, might seem woo-woo, or we can think of them as people, right? I've done it. I'm like, I don't know how this works. I don't know how I can apply this. So I've been, I've judged the situation, and more education, less judgment. Always be a life student, always be learning and growing, and make that part of your, activities that you do daily. And then, start connecting those dots intuitively. You can do it. We all have the intuition as part of our very important skill. However, again, just like entrepreneurship, nobody taught us how to do it, because nobody wanted us to be so aware and so educated, because then they couldn't, influence us or keep them under their control. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I know. We were never taught to like connect or necessarily, know that we have intuition and that, you should follow it, which is a big part. Like I said, that's a whole nother topic, but it's a huge part as well. So what is some of the best, or how do you normally work with people, or how do you work with people? What's the best way for them to contact you, and who do you work with?
Yeah, so I have 3 containers of how they can work with me, whether it's my private consulting work or fractional work. That's one way. The other one is through my program, which is like the playbook hub of how to grow business with support. And then the third is the community. So they can join the community where I match people. I connect them together, and I connect them to speaking opportunities and access to other audiences. So those are the 3 ways that they can work with me.
Yeah, and I know you have a lot of people that you can connect people with as well. You've connected some to me that were just, outstanding people. We turned out to be a really good fit. So again, like you said, you're intuitive. You kind of knew after we talked. And so, yeah, anyone trying to connect, I think you're definitely a wonderful resource for that and for growing and scaling their business. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So what is at least one thing that you want to make sure people take away from this?
Know that there is support, trust their decision-making abilities, do their homework, and be a lifelong student. Those are some of the things that I apply and rinse and repeat in my own life. And they have served me well, so I hope that they'll do the same for anyone listening.
Yeah. So we have a few minutes left. Are you adding, or what is on the horizon for you and life school?
I'm always going to keep growing and evolving. I don't see any other way, because personal growth has been that personal value that's important to me. And that, of course, is always going to transfer into the business and on what I do. So I'm currently working on expanding my nonprofit foundation with this mission to support youth and women in toxic environments, whether they're in mental health affected by that or domestic abuse. So that's something that I am working alongside my company as well. And then with my company's always the scaling piece, growing the community further, hiring, supporting, getting the right people aligned, setting up some really great strategic partnerships. I value relationships as a human, as a person. So for me, it's always about creating win-wins being creative about how to collaborate. So that's what I'm focusing on for this year as well. And a lot of the speaking, I love the speaking side. I love to be able to share what I know with people in a very organic, authentic way. So that's another thing that I'm also focusing on as part of the where I'm heading in the very near future.
So is your nonprofit established now, or that's something you're building?
It's established, yes.
It is established. Okay. Wonderful. And so, yeah, how would people connect with or the nonprofit? Is there
on my website? They'll find information on my nonprofit as well. It's called the Life School Mission Foundation.
I'm sorry. It's called the what?
The Life School Mission Foundation.
Okay, well, yeah, the Life School, obviously. Got to keep the branding going across there, and then everybody will know it's you. But Elona, you are such a wealth of knowledge and information, and I am so happy that you were able to join us today and share that with everybody. I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, I want to thank you for holding such a great space. Thank you so much for everything you do and the way that you service others by just creating these windows for people to share what they know, and hopefully the audience connects their own dots. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing as well. And thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. And I will tell you, if you have trouble connecting those dots, or you're looking at getting into business for yourself, or you're just stuck or struggling, you definitely want to reach out to Elona. She is a wealth of knowledge, as you can see, and she's got a lot of information. She's got a lot of expertise in it, been 20 plus years. So yeah, definitely reach out to her. But thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week on Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye.